Hello and welcome to Stretford Paddock. My name is Joe, this is Scotty, and this is Round Our Way. How are you doing?
I'm very good, thank you very much. I'm finally getting into the World Cup.
Finally getting into
it. It's been difficult, hasn't it? Yeah, now Rashford's scoring. Yeah, get behind someone.
We're going to be looking not just England, not just Rashford, but we'll be looking at all of Manchester United's targets, how they are doing in the World Cup, and whether there's been any new names added to the list after their World Cup performances. It happens every 4 years, doesn't it? Where all of a sudden people go from sort of unknown quantities to everyone in the world knows about him and everyone thinks that United should sign him. Happens every time.
Yeah, but I don't think we've been too successful. I mean, I'm going back a while now, but if you look at the Klebersons, the Poborskis, the Jordi Cruyffs that we've signed post-international tournaments, I don't think United have fared too well when using that as something to buy a player off.
Kleberson was a weird one, wasn't it? Bought him after the 2002 World Cup, after Brazil had just won it. And then he was just all right, wasn't he?
Yeah. Interesting fact about Kleberson is he's the only one of only 3 Man United players to play with both Ronaldos. I'll give you till the end of the show to see if you can name the other 2.
Oh, 3 of them, is there?
Yeah.
I'm just going to be sat thinking about this. David Beckham?
Nope. Should we start the show?
Yeah, let's start the show. Right, let's start with some of these people. Get your thoughts in the comments. Let's start with Manchester United's links. And I'm going to give you a player and you're going to come back to me with what you think of them, whether you've been impressed with them in the World Cup, whether you've seen much of them, whether you think United should buy them. So the first one I want to start with is Denzel Dumfries, right back for the Netherlands, former Serie A champions. Inter value him at around 50 million euros, 45 million quid apparently. Apparently earlier this month there were claims that Arsenal were willing to pay £31 million for him, and he's obviously part of the Netherlands team at the World Cup so far. A right back, do United need a right back? What do you make of Denzel Dumfries?
I think Denzel Dumfries is a good player. I watched obviously Serie A, but my concerns is, do we need a right back to challenge Dalot? Because I've been out of all the players that have massively improved under Ten Hag, Dalot's got to be up there in terms of turn his career around. I think we definitely need someone there because I think Wan-Bissaka is going to be on his way out if and when we can find someone to buy him. Dumfries is a great player. I don't think he'd walk up and play second fiddle at Man United, though. He's had a good tournament.
Yeah, he has had a good tournament, and it's a lot in it. Like, I can't imagine United playing 30 to 40 million quid for someone that's meant to be sitting on the bench. I know we've done it a lot.
Well, we spent 50 million on Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, Donny van de Beek was 40 million for the first 2 years. Fred sat on the bench, so I know that happens. But I think you buy them under the assumption that they will be a first team player.
Yep.
And when they don't, that's the sort of, it's a shame, but it didn't work out. I can't imagine us buying Dumfries for 40 million quid and then not at least trying to put him in ahead of Dalot, can you?
No, I can't see that. When we're looking at these players, are we talking about them buying them in January or with an eye on the summer as well?
Well, in terms of Dumfries particular, I'm not sure, but I know that a lot of the rumours around the January transfer budget were talking about getting a right back if we could sell Wan-Bissaka, and then we would get them in January, because I think they want around 20 million quid for Wan-Bissaka. That seems to be the fee that you see sort of reported everywhere. So I think if we could sell Wan-Bissaka in January, someone in the region of 30 million pounds ish would be coming in January as well, I think.
Well, that doesn't make 50 mil look so bad if we are going to recoup 20 mil on Wan-Bissaka, which is, robbery from our behalf.
Yeah, definitely. Right, let's move on to Cody Gakpo as well. Same team. We've got 3 players from the Dutch national team here, actually. So same team as him. I think they got 9 points, haven't they, in the group stage, which the Netherlands always seem to do, by the way. They win every group stage match, stumble into the quarterfinals, and then get comfortably beaten by the first good team they come up against.
Netherlands are very Spursy, aren't they?
They're so Spursy. So why is that? What's that?
I don't know, because you're right. Every tournament, you sort of get behind them, and they always have a real momentum. I remember Van Gaal's Netherlands, when me and Jay went over to Brazil with Van Persie. Me and Jay were in the game to watch that against Salvador, and he scored that diving header. But Gakpo, player who should have been signed in the summer, as far as I'm aware, that they agreed terms with him, but they didn't want to come through with the amount of money that they were being told that they needed to pay. Fantastic striker. We obviously needed one before Ronaldo went. We need one more than ever now. Martial's all right at the moment, but we can't rely on him too often. And I think that with Rashford coming back, I think we do need someone of a goal scorer, and Gakpo just seems to have the pedigree. If we don't buy him in January and PSV go on to have a fantastic season and it looks like they are going to win stuff, his stock's only going to rise, which means United are going to get more competitors to go for him in the summer. So I think United need to move now the flip side of that is with the Glazers seemingly out, are they going to want to spend any money in January? Because that's what do you think on that sense?
Well, I think that I don't know how it would work. I don't think the value of the club would go down by them spending 40 million quid. I think it's also not their own money, is it? It's the club's money. And I don't think that if we bought Gakpo in, a potential owner would go, okay, we're only giving you 4,990.
They're going to deduct it from,
I don't think they're going to do that. I think it would still be the same fee, but now United have got better players. I think, obviously, in the region of 50 to 100 million in January, I think we could probably sort of recoup quite easily. Just looking at the Netherlands teams, where they've finished in the World Cup. So, 98, they did really well, got to the semi-final, lost to Brazil. And then they didn't qualify in 2002. By the looks of things. Germany 2006, they finished on 7 points in a group with Ivory Coast, who had an excellent team at the time, and then Argentina as well, so they finished on level points with Argentina. But then same thing again, round of 16, played Portugal, lost. South Africa 2010, again, this one, they got to the final, they did really well. But then Brazil, I think they did the same thing where they got to maybe the semi-final. But again, the first time they faced a good team, so they played Costa Rica, they played Costa Rica, Mexico, and Chile to get to the semi-final, which is about as good as it gets.
Yeah.
And then as soon as they got to the semi-final, they played Argentina, lost. Like it's almost like England, where they're brilliant against the bad teams, but as soon as they face a good team, they really struggle, don't they? So obviously, same thing this time. They've got 9 points after the first 3 games. Let's see how they do after that. But they're obviously doing pretty well under Van Gaal.
And obviously Van Gaal's sort of had health issues recently, and I know a lot of United fans didn't enjoy his football and that they played at Old Trafford. But him as a personality, you've got to love Uncle Louis.
Yeah, he's great.
It really is.
He's a good manager as well, really good manager.
Yeah, I think that we got him at the wrong end of his career, really. If we got him mid-90s, obviously we had Ferguson, but that's when he was at the peak of his powers. Yeah. But he's got them playing really good football. Memphis Depay at the Netherlands teams looks a fantastic player, and I know there's been rumours about him returning to Old Trafford.
Yeah, I'm not sure about that.
No, I wouldn't have him in his cowboy hat back at Old Trafford.
Time for that one. Let's move on. Gakpo, again, we spoke about Gakpo just then, but he's leading the Golden Boot race as well, doing very well. Let's talk about Frenkie de Jong a little bit, because this was the big one in the summer, wasn't it? Where it seemed like up until like 3 days before we signed Casemiro, it seemed like it was going to be de Jong or nothing. And then it almost felt like I remember at the time the rumour was, or not the rumour, but the sort of prevailing theory on Twitter was, well, the only reason we're being linked with Casemiro is a distraction from de Jong, and we're not actually getting either. And that seemed pretty reasonable, like, okay, well, we tried to get de Jong, didn't get it. We tried to get Casemiro, didn't work out. But then we actually did sign Casemiro, which I think shocked pretty much everyone. Do you think we still need de Jong? Do you think we'll go after him again? And do you think there's a chance that could happen?
In the summer, I didn't think it'd happen. I just thought after the first sort of month or 2 months, when there was sort of no movement on his side, and there was a lot of difficulties regarding his contract at Barcelona. But the longer it dragged on, it just seemed a bit. He didn't want to come to United. Any player in any position can sort of force their club's hand for a move. So it didn't seem that he wanted to come to Old Trafford. It'd be interesting when we play Barcelona after Christmas in the Europa League. Great player. Who do we lose? Eriksen's 30.
I guess it would have to be Eriksen,
wouldn't it? So, I mean, we always want some of the world's best players at Old Trafford, but I just think Eriksen's been one of the best buys of the season for what he's performed at Manchester United. How much longer we can get from him, I'm not too sure, but I just don't buy into the belief that de Jong actually wants to go to Old Trafford.
No, it doesn't seem like it, does it? People saying we need one more midfielder. Maybe we do, yeah. We are a little bit thin on rotation, aren't we? I know Fred and McTominay can come in, but you do see that drop. Yeah,
and you're looking at Fred in the summer as well. There's rumours that his contract's not going to get extended, so you're expecting Fred to walk away from United. So we are going to be thin on the ground, and I think that's going to be the problem towards the later end of this season, that we can't rotate as much as we want, especially with the European Cups.
I think a rotational midfield of Bruno, Eriksen, Casemiro, de Jong, McTominay. That is a relatively sound foundation, I think.
That's got to be up there. Maybe just below City in terms of best midfielders in the country.
Yeah, because I think obviously McTominay, we know his limitations, this, that, and the other, but he can have good games. He's had really good games this season. You could swap him out for Casemiro on a given day. Eriksen, you could rotate with De Jong, and again, you could put Eriksen in the number 10 as well for Bruno as well. It gives it each piece a sort of, because at the minute, Fred isn't like any of those players. He's not a direct replacement for any of them.
Which is quite surprising, because I thought that Fred under Rangnick was probably the best player under him in terms of improvement, and Fred can press really well, he just can't defend really well, and I thought with Ten Hag coming in that might give him a new lease of life at Old Trafford, but it just seems that he's out of favour, and obviously Ten Hag sees him week in, week out at Carrington, so his day's seemingly numbered, but we definitely do need a stronger in-depth midfield.
Let's move on to a few goalkeepers then, because Diogo Costa's been one that's been linked. Obviously Portugal, I think they're on 6 points after 2 games. Bruno Fernandes, I would say, inarguably been their most effective player so far. 2 goals, 2 assists in 2 games. Don't get much better than that. Diogo Costa, like I said, apparently he's on United's radar, as revealed by Fabrizio Romano. He said that there is also interest from Chelsea for him. According to Relevo, initial contacts have already taken place with Chelsea and Man United, with Costa's agent Jorge Mendes seemingly keen to get his client a big move. Report adds that the Portuguese international has a €75 million release clause. Obviously, wouldn't necessarily have to activate that in order to sign him, but we're talking a good chunk of money for Diogo Costa there. Yeah. It wouldn't necessarily, you can sign him for less than that, but that's the maximum we could possibly pay would be 75 million.
I think we're going to be looking at a new goalkeeper in the summer. Yeah. We were talking before about our right back to challenge Dalot, or maybe come in and be the permanent right back. I think De Gea over the last few years has been on the wane. I think it's been a lot better this season. He always gets criticised for his distribution from his feet. That's improved, but as football is evolving, I think in some senses that he isn't, up to the speed. I don't really know much about Diego Costa, but he's 75 million. And you think with the Jorge Mendes link as well, with how, whilst it wasn't sour how the club sort of separated with Ronaldo, it just seems, that I think if the Glazer put more of a struggle not wanting to sort of separate the contract, that may have caused some issues. So you think that they've got a good relationship with the club there. Just seems a lot of money, even if that's 50 million, but that's what goalkeepers go for nowadays, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's the sort of player who has a lot of that has a lot of touches. He stops a lot of crosses. He's very highly regarded in both of those areas. His save percentage is good. His clean sheet percentage is very good. Like I said, his touches are in the top sort of 15-16% for a goalkeeper. So he's someone that is keen to be involved in the play. He's more involved in the build-up than someone like David De Gea is. So I think that's obviously why we'd be going after him. He's also 6'4" and massive. Wow. So he's someone that is.
How old is he?
Well, actually, it depends. In terms of his height, it depends where you're looking. Some places say 6'2", some places say 6'4". Anyway, he's 23 years old, but he looks to be a very exciting player. So, yeah, it just depends what we want. And the goalkeepers is one of them where I think of all the positions, it is not luck of the draw, but like Pep literally bought Claudio Bravo with him from Barcelona. He couldn't know him better. He was his goalie at Barca. He knows what he can do. He knows what he can't do. And within 6 weeks, he went, he's shit. Like, how can that happen? Like, I don't think that happens in any other position the same way where, generally if a manager brings a player with him, like even Fellaini coming with Moyes, he did exactly what we thought he'd do. He was a bulky, difficult, great, chest-controlled maniac. And he didn't do any more than you thought he would. He didn't do any less. But usually you know what you're getting. I think a goalkeeper is just so hard to predict. Like, look at Chelsea.
It really is, because the sort of standard of the league dictates their ability in your eye, doesn't it? So like you said, Bravo might have been good when he was with Pep in Spain. Yeah. The standard across the length of the Premier League is a lot better strikers than it was that time in La Liga.
Yeah, definitely. Before we carry on, we've got loads more players to get through. Before we carry on, we are sponsored today by Manscaped. Now, it's never too early to play holiday music, and it's never too early to start thinking about Christmas gifts. I mean, it's certainly not too early now. It's almost the start of December. It's getting towards too late.
Have you started?
I've started, yeah.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Fucking show off.
I bought a mug. I can't tell you before, but I've started already. Whether it's for a friend or for the friends in your pants, you can make this season be jolly with Manscaped. Do your little drummer boy a favour and sign up.
What are you referring to me?
And use, not you, the mini you, and use the Lawnmower 4.0 to avoid another silent night in the bedroom. Then add Manscaped's top-of-the-line shower products that people have been thinking. Well, you'll get people thinking all I want for Christmas is you. That's what you'll get when you're fully shaved, trimmed and scented. And all you have to do is go to manscaped.com and use the code MOTTY20 to get 20% off and free shipping. Remember, Motty20, like Scotty and Motty, like Jay Motty. He should be here to read it, but he isn't. He's big time.
When you think of wanting to shave things bald, testicle shaped, you can Jay's head, Motty20.
Exactly, it's that simple.
Who doesn't want nads like Jay's head?
I want my balls to look like Jay's head.
Shiny.
Yeah, it's all about getting a grooming routine. I think that's the crucial thing. It's hard to go from being sort of this unsightly, unscaped mess to all of a sudden you've got the lines going on. Mine's got a little fade on it.
You've got a fade?
Yeah, I've got a fade. I've got some
You have so much time in your hands.
Do you know like those sort of old-fashioned like tribal tattoos people used to have?
Yes.
I've got that but trimmed into my nut hair. And you can do with Manscaped because it's that precise using the Lawnmower 4.0. But it's not just the Lawnmower 4.0, yeah? It's the Platinum Package 4.0. That's got everything you could ever need, right? So I'm just going to read this here. Here's what it's got. It's got body wash, 2-in-1 shampoo, conditioner, deodorant. It's also got the Lawnmower 4.0, like I said. It's got everything in there. Yeah, there's also a 4,000K LED light on it, so you can trim in the dark. If you get lost in a cave,
that's good.
In Derbyshire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's where you definitely need to have. You know, you could take your pubes. And warm yourself elsewhere.
Yeah, you could use it as some sort of wattle and daub for a particularly ad hoc cave wall.
Start a fire.
Start a fire with them. And if you need to do that in a cave in Derbyshire, you can trim it and you can set it on fire.
So it's a safety tool as well as a trimming tool.
I'm not sure if legally we're allowed to describe it as a survival tool, but it is waterproof. So if you want to trim your balls
in the dark,
in a lake, you can, or more commonly, in your bathroom in the shower. And it's great.
With the lights on.
Yeah, with the lights on. Because you can just wash it off. But even with the lights on, there's always some shadows down there that I'm not sure if it's discoloration or if it is just a shadow, but luckily it was a shadow. Make sure, if you want 20% off and free shipping, you use the code MOTTY20 at manscaped.com. The link is in the description. We'll also put the link in the chat. So click that. It's time to start thinking about Christmas presents. You can wait until the 24th of December, but you're just going to get something shit. Save yourself the hassle. Go to manscaped.com, use the code MOTTY20 and sort out Christmas now. Motty here, not even with his own code.
Get your jingle belt balls ready for the holiday. I want to add that in.
That's really nice. Thank you for that. Sergej Milinkovic-Savic.
Yes, when I first came on the show in the summer, that was a name that I said I'd like to see at Manchester United. He seems to have been linked with a move to Old Trafford since he left his mother's womb. Fantastic player, absolute flair on him. He's got an engine. I just don't think he's going to be leaving Serie A anytime soon. No, I don't think so. How old is he now? 28? I think if this move was going to happen, it would have happened already.
He's 27 years old now. It absolutely stinks of a Koulibaly, this, doesn't it? Do you know where you linked and you linked and you linked, and before you know it, you're 30, and then maybe towards the end of your career, Chelsea buy you. Yeah. Like, it doesn't, like, these are his peak years now. If someone's going to buy, he was linked as a potential £100 million player when he was like 23, do you remember? Yeah. Just because the whole thing at the time was, well, we've only just bought Pogba, so do we need him? Are they too similar? Because he's not quite like Pogba, but in that similar vein of all action, can score goals, is good defensively, 6'3", great touch for a big man. That whole thing is good passing range. Like, he ticks a lot of the same boxes that Paul Pogba did, and it was deemed at the time that we didn't really need him. But now we don't really have someone like that. But my worry, and I've said this about him before, is he a bit of a jack of all trades? You know, you look at Man United's team, it is beginning to be full of specialists, isn't it? You've got Antony on one side, cut inside, score goals. Rashford on the other side, cut inside, score goals. The midfield is, Bruno is one of the most creative all-action midfielders, but all he does is try and get goals going. Yeah. You've got Eriksen who sits deep and plays the ball, and you've got Casemiro who tackles. There isn't like a absolute all-rounder in there. Where would Savic fit?
Well, that would be where he fits them, wouldn't it? Being the utility man. I think every squad needs ready, because any one of them players is out, then obviously he's got the ability to fill in if we do need to go defensive with Casemiro, if we do need to go attack, if he can play out on the wides. I just don't think. I think it's too late in his career to be coming to Old Trafford. And if we're looking forward, I'm pretty sure he's 28 next year. I'd just like to see United be buying more of the sort of young players with an eye on the future.
He'll be 28 by the end of the season.
Yeah.
So if we were to sign him in the summer, he'll be 28.
Yeah. So it's like, well, yeah.
So, but it's he's still got 3 to 5 years at the top level there.
How much do you think it'd be costing him to get out of Lazio?
I don't know.
70 mil?
Probably, yeah. It was. I mean, like I said, it was rumoured at like what 70, 80, 90, 4 years ago.
If we could get in a DeLorean. And, and say, listen, let's not sign Pogba, let's sign him. Knowing what we know now, it'd have been a move I'd have wanted to have made.
Maybe. Well, there was something nice about signing Pogba. But it just goes to show, doesn't it, like, United sign players about how, like, based on how cool it would be to sign them. Do you know what I mean? Like, how cool, imagine how cool it'd be if we signed Pogba. Yeah, we'll get that done.
Yeah.
Imagine how cool it'd be if we signed Falcao, Ronaldo, Di Maria. Wow, it's so cool.
Galacticos.
Like, they signed cool players, not the right players. You can tell it was people who don't have sort of footballing brains making those decisions, because it's the sort of players we would have bought.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like, fucking imagine Pogba, whoa! When really, City were buying some pasty lad from Wolfsburg who happens to be the best midfielder in the world in Kevin De Bruyne. Like, United signed so many players that were cool and, wow, what a great name. And just almost none of them were. Even Varane, who is, I think, on the pitch, been excellent for United. He's the sort of signing that, he's just a big name and he's an easy, obvious, no need to scout him type player.
Yeah, I mean, just taking Varane away from that list.
Yeah.
You just sort of shown the reason for the Glazers. It's marketing, really, isn't it? It's the shirt sales, but they've missed a trick there if they didn't sign, is it Milinkovic-Savic?
Yeah.
How much do you reckon that cost to get on the back of a shirt?
That's true. He's still buying, is it still paying by
letter?
Per digit?
Yeah. I remember when United bought Eddie Cantona and my mum didn't take my official United shirt to the club to get it on. Took it to Longsight Market, washed it, pink.
Oh no, it's all gone.
And this was back in the day when
the
it wasn't.
The
text went pink.
Oh no.
This was back in the day when it wasn't acceptable to wear pink.
Yeah, and you couldn't say like, oh, it's for a charity.
Yeah.
Now you could probably say, oh, it's raising awareness. But back then, what you got that for?
Exactly.
And if we are paying by the numbers, by the digits, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Are we counting with the
Yeah,
charge
high.
for the
Yeah,
dash?
definitely. Yeah.
10, 11, dash, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Do you know what I mean? Everyone's just getting Sergey on the back, aren't they?
Yeah, SMS.
Yeah. SMS
Why
on the back.
you use the text message?
Right, let's move on, shall we? Who else we got? Oh, we've missed someone out, actually. Excuse me. Unai Simon, Spain goalkeeper. He's obviously sort of taken David De Gea's place over the last couple of years. Apparently, he doesn't have a release clause in his contract. I thought it was mandatory under Spanish law that you had to have a release clause in a Serie A, a La Liga contract.
But doesn't he play for Bilbao?
Is that I know, but
and them Basques don't live by the same rules as the rest of Spain, and I absolutely admire him.
Do you know what I love at the minute is Inaki Williams, who plays for Atletico Bilbao. Obviously, they only allow players who are from the Basque region. He's also playing for Ghana at the World Cup, which I love that. Because it's like, technically, he was born in Bilbao, but then obviously, because of his heritage, he's playing for that. I wonder if the president of Bilbao is like, that is a loophole we never saw.
Yeah.
He plays for us, but he's also playing for Ghana. No one saw that one coming, but, fair play to him. But Unai Simon doesn't have a release clause in his contract, which runs till 2025, which to me seems like, oh shit, he's got a 15-year contract, but that is 3 years away.
Yeah, it's not long,
seem possible, does it? Apparently, he didn't want a release clause because he's very grateful to Bilbao, and if he leaves one day, he wants his club to be very happy with the transfer from an economic perspective.
That's why I love that club. You know, there's the morals of a lot of the players and stuff. How many modern players would you see that haven't got a transfer clause in their contract? That would mean that they're going to get a shed load of money when they eventually leave. But from the looks of that, it looks like it's not going to be easy to get him out of Bilbao. But if he's replaced De Gea as the Spanish number one, then you've got to think that he's got the ability to replace De Gea as Manchester United's number one. Whether we can pull that move off, I'm not too sure. Yeah,
apparently Athletic are willing to listen to offers, but would only let him leave for a large amount, no less than sort of 30 or 40
That's
million.
not a large amount though, is it?
No, it isn't.
It's going to cost that.
How much was Mendy for Chelsea? Does anyone know? Because Benjamin Mendy came in as the replacement for a £80 million or £75 million Kepa. Not Benjamin Mendy, Ferland Mendy, excuse me. And yet he was another 60 million, wasn't he?
Where did he come from?
Mendy. It was France, I believe. Not Ferland Mendy either. That's the left back. Fucking hell. So many Mendy. Edouard Mendy. Jesus Christ. Get your Mendy's in order. He came from Rennes, where he'd only been for one season.
See, that's big, that though, to go 60 million on a goalkeeper from Rennes.
Yeah. Excuse me. No, it was only 22 million quid.
22 million.
See, that's more like it, isn't it?
Yeah.
None of this makes sense. They've replaced a keeper that was 75 million with one that was 22, but then now Kepa gets games from him again. No, Chelsea have fucked it. But either way, 30 to 40 million quid for a goalkeeper. That, back in 2000 when that's what you could get a Buffon for that.
A Buffon, yeah,
man. Getting a new nice Simon for it.
I'd take him.
Yeah, I'd take him as well, to be honest. Right, Serginho Dest. Linked with him in the summer. Barcelona player. Is he on loan at AC Milan? I believe he is, isn't he? We played against him.
Yeah,
England played against him.
America were by far the better team, I thought.
Yeah, he's on loan at AC Milan. Linked with him in the summer. Rumours there, much cheaper, more like I think AC have got an option to buy for 20 million euros. So obviously, if United were to, get in there, it would be around that fee.
Well, Barcelona obviously don't want him if they're sending him out on loan.
Yeah.
He's not going to be the number one there. So you got to think, will AC Milan be interested? And all these rumours that AC Milan might be getting bought. He went on loan this summer, didn't he, to AC? He wasn't part of the Serie A winning team, I don't think.
No, he didn't win. No, he's just gone this year,
Yeah. So, yeah, I mean, I think that sort of player would play in behind Dalot, looking at, to replace him in the future. So that made more sense.
Yeah. Yeah, he's one of those players that no one seems to want. No one seems to like him. Everyone in the comments, nah, no Dest. We need.
Why though? Well, who do you want as right back?
I don't know. Yeah, who do you want as right back? Darren Koch with the super chat says Australia is coming for Argentina. Don't worry about Messi. We've got Lecky. So Australia
or Argentina?
Assuming Argentina finished top of their group, which.
You'd
think? Assume, but we don't know what they're on 3 points currently. I think they are playing tonight at the Argentina. I believe they are. People saying Reece James. Well, that's not happening, is it? Frimpong. Frimpong seems to be the sort of the most highly regarded player there. We'll see. Enzo Fernandez. Supposed 100 million price tag. They just make this shit up, don't they?
Where is this from?
Yeah, where's
the 100 million rumour from?
I'll find it.
Ethan says he'll find it. I mean, he's already written it down, so he must have found it one time. Yeah, what can we get away with?
And it's always 100 mil.
I know.
It's never 90.
No, it's never 90.
110.
It's never 110. It's either,
rounded up,
Yeah, I like him, but it seems a hell of a lot of money. So he's central midfielder, 21 years old. He's only played in Europe for 13 matches. Before that, he was playing at River Plate on loan at Defensa Justica, which is an Argentinian football club.
See, I like the idea of having an Argentinian central midfielder.
Yeah.
More so than De Jong, who I don't think wants to come to United.
Yeah.
But 100 mil's a hell of a lot of an outlay.
Eurosport apparently saying that we're looking at 100 million quid. I can't believe.
Where is he at now?
He's at Benfica. Who, in fairness to them, do have a great track record of getting 100 million quid for players.
Yep.
Like they got it for Nunes, they got it for João Felix. Like not many teams have sold players. I think they've got the most, or like second or third most money in player sales in the last decade. So they're a relatively safe bet, but that's a lot of money, isn't it? Surely for someone that's played currently 13 league games in Europe and the rest in Argentina.
Are we going to guess that Mendes is his agent?
Probably is. I just want to have a look at how much Benfica have sold players for. So Benfica record transfers, because it's quite astonishing actually when you look at the players that they've sold in the last few years. So this is an article, Benfica's most expensive sales, how they've made over 1.1 billion in outgoing transfers. So here's their top list. Darwin Núñez, 80 million euros, but that's rising up to 100 very easily, isn't it? Ruben Diaz, that's another one I forgot about, 68 million quid, euros. João Felix, 127 million euros. Ederson, 40 million euros. Renato Sanchez, 35. Rodrigo, 35. Just loads of, even like Anderson Talisca, another one. 20 million quid for someone who's like fine.
And I think
Matic, 25
Di Maria
million.
and Matic went through Benfica.
Yeah, Di Maria, 33 million euros. Axel Witsel, 40 million euros. Like, they just sell players for a lot.
But they're big names, though. You know, like,
Yeah, but that's the other thing.
Like, they've got a good pedigree for bringing players, you know, from Benfica and having careers outside of there. So,
yeah, you look at all these
as a feeder club for the rest of Europe.
You look at all these big money players. Very few of them are out and out failures or out and out sort of.
Well, what'd you say about
wasting
Renato
money.
Sanchez when United were linked with him?
Yeah, because that was that to Bayern Munich that they sold him for that. I think it was to Bayern Munich when he first.
Am I right in saying he went to Swansea for a bit?
He went to Swansea after that, yeah. But I think they sold him to Bayern Munich.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he did.
And then he went to Swansea. Then he went to Nice, and now he's at PSG. Let me just double check that that's the correct.
But
order.
we were massively linked with him that summer, weren't we?
Yeah, it was Lille, sorry, not Nice. But yeah. So other than Renato Sanchez, I'm sure Bayern Munich don't feel like they got 33 million quid's worth of players out of him.
Yeah.
Player out of him. They've all been relatively good buys, so maybe it would be worth signing. We'll have to see. I can't.
So he'll be in action tonight then.
Yeah, he'll be playing tonight. I certainly can't see us spending 100 million quid on him in January.
No,
that's
definitely not happening.
That would be one for the summer. And another player as well that's worth mentioning is Kim Min-jae, who's been playing for South Korea. Napoli centre back, available for around £40 million. If United are in for a centre back, surely that means that Harry Maguire is being sold.
Yes, I think so. And he's having good performances for England, but he's had good performances pretty much throughout his England career while he's been at United. That hasn't been the case at Old Trafford. Yeah. He must know that he's behind the pecking order. I think the only time he gets back to being in the starting 11 is the injuries to Varane, and I think Lindelof is ahead of him in the pecking order. But as a centre-back for the United are looking for, I just can't see United getting Kim Min-jae out of Napoli before the summer, because Napoli are flying in the Champions League and they're doing really well in Serie A. Yeah. Just can't see them selling them now.
And interestingly, according to Fabrizio Romano, he's only available for that £40 million release clause for the next 2 weeks, which who makes a release clause that ends on the 14th of December? That's not a thing. Why would it end then? Up until, when's your release clause? January maybe, because that's when the window opens? But surely June. The 14th of December, 2 weeks before the January
transfer market. That's like the 100 million. What date are we going to go for? We'll go for that one.
And that doesn't even make sense anyway. Only available at 40 million for the next 2 weeks because release clause expires. So we can't sign him for that then, because the window doesn't open for another 2 weeks after that. So that's nothing, is it?
Yeah, I mean, you've heard rumours about Italian transfer windows.
Yeah, that'd be great.
But yeah, he's a good centre-back. I just can't see United getting anyone out of Napoli if they're interested until the summer.
Yeah.
But Harry Maguire is definitely gone.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? And do you know what?
Where, though? I don't know.
Well, do you know what? I think there will be plenty of suitors after this World Cup, because I think people will understand that, I hope that people understand that in the right system, I think he can be an excellent centre-back. I think in a team that does more defending than it does attacking, or certainly the type of defending it does is edge of your own box defending. If it's halfway line defending, like City, like Liverpool, like United are trying to do now, he doesn't stand out. If it's edge of your own box, like I think under Conte, I think under Jose, I think for a lot of sort of Serie A teams where the defending is more of a sort of a we will defend and sit back and let you attack us, I think he'd be incredible. I think you put him in, basically any of the top Serie A teams, and I think he would improve them, or certainly look very good, because of not because it's a lesser league, but because the defending is of a different style. I think at Tottenham he'd look incredible under Conte.
Yeah, I mean, you make a good shout with Jose, because I know he really wanted him when he was at United, and he's at Roma now. Can you imagine like the smaller than Maguire under Jose?
Imagine how good he'd be. Like, I know, and I don't like referencing him, obviously the stuff that's gone on in the past with Rio Ferdinand, but someone like John Terry, if you put him in Pep Guardiola's team, would be awful, because he cannot defend running back to his own goal on the edge of his own 6-yard line with his hands behind his back. Yep. He's excellent, but he's not a running back to his own goal athletic defender, and yet he's regarded as one of the best in the history of the Premier League. I'm not saying Maguire's at that level, but Put him in a team that defends on the edge of their own box when they're defending and counter-attacks, and I think you've got 30, 40, maybe 50 million quid worth of a player
he can defend. He can defend within the box.
Yeah,
but anything else in terms of distribution? I mean, there was some balls last night that were going out to the wings, and it was just absolutely terrible. But yeah, and he just. He's very much a throwback. I always say this about Harry Maguire in terms of his style of defending. But if United are moving forward, we can't be doing it with Harry Maguire at the back.
Yeah, exactly. We've got a question here from Adam Music. He says, Joe, when is the meet-up? I can't find the link. I think it was in Dublin. The link to our Dublin show is in the description of every single one of our videos. We'll also get it in the chat for you as well. Come down. It'll be me, Jay, Stephen Howson, Adam McCullough, and of course, Manchester United hero, Brian McClare, the first player to score 30 goals in a season after George Best will be there. Yeah, link the tickets to that are pinned in the chat. So come down, check it out. You get to meet us, you get to have a chat with us, you get to listen to the podcast, listen to Brian McClare's great stories. Our first ever live event in Dublin on the 30th of December. Perfect Christmas present for your mates. If you can get there, if you live nearby, make sure you come down and check it out. Like I said, links to the tickets are in the chat and in the description of every single video. That's going to be all from us today.
I wish I was going to that. What time? Well, I've got a radio show until 6. What time do you actually?
I think we're on at like 7.
Yes, that's going to be
tight. Can you get from
tight.
Manchester to Dublin in an hour?
I don't think Ryanair can get me there in 24 hours. But
yeah, exactly. Right, thank you very much for joining us. We'll be back this evening after the World Cup matches for Stretford Paddock Live. Me and Jay Motti will be here to take you through all of the latest. Again, head over to manscaped.com. The link for that is in the description. Use the code MOTTY20. That is Motti, MOTTY20, like Jay Motti, who lives here. For 20% off and free shipping. Thank you for coming down, Scott. I very much enjoyed running through all of Man United's transfer options there.
Do you want the rest of the players who played with both Ronaldos?
Give me a clue.
I'll give you one more.
Right, so
I'm pretty sure there's 3. So there's only 3 Manchester United players that have played with both Ronaldos. They must have played for Manchester United.
Okay, and who was the first one you've already revealed?
Kleberson.
Kleberson played with both. Who else could have played with both? So they're either got to be Brazilian, play for Barca and Real, Inter and Real, or wherever he played in.
Yeah.
Brazil.
So I'll give you another one. Silvestre.
When did he play with him? Inter?
He got Inter Milan, the last season at Inter Milan.
And you forget Silvestre played for even...
I had a soft spot for Mickey Silvestre.
Yeah. Who else?
I'll leave that with you until you return till next week.
No!
I've been Scott. That's been Joe Smith, but we'll see you back next week for Around Our Way.